Oh my
My
God.
favorite one was the dude who hit me up at midnight. Bro, check this video. All right, bro, I got you. 8 a.m. the next day. Yo, did you get a chance? Like, bro, I fucking slept. Can I get like 8 hours of sleep without being like attached to my emails?
It's a weird position to be in because, in a way, you're just like you're a servant to the platform. So, like, do you ever feel like people come up to you and they're just like fully just trying to use you?
100%. Yeah, got you.
And I'm just gonna preface it real quick. Yo, again, come through with some value. Hashtag business, hashtag value for everyone over here tuning in, because Greg dropped a lot of gems on how to accurately market yourself as an artist, especially in Boston. And that's very possible for everyone in Boston to make some waves for yourself. Go.
So do you want me to do it as Greg Gaffney or Greg is on fire?
That was supposed to be like the epic lead up. You're supposed to be good at
Hi, it's Greg Gaffney, and this is my golden hour.
Water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the 4 deer nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the fire deer attacked. Only Derek, master of all 4 elements, could stop those boys. But when Boston needed him most, he vanished into the enchanted golden deer forest.
Season 4.
Okay, we're synced up. Do you just want to see how you sound?
Check, check, check.
You feel good?
Check, check, check. Yeah,
So-
we sound good. Yep.
I mean, you know, I feel like you have a better technical sense than I do. You got more history. Well, I mean, don't you work at Apple?
I do.
Come on, man. So, good morning.
Good morning, indeed.
So when we had started the show, I think you were probably one of the first people I reached out to, man. Because I was like, you know what? There's this, I don't want to call you a snake, but there's this undercover figure that's making all these transactional moves to kind of build the city up. And he seems wicked important, but he doesn't show his face too much.
Nah, yeah, I just kind of be at home and just play with the dog, you know?
And I mean, I'm sure you're making a ton of phone calls too. And writing and photography and working 10 jobs.
Yeah, a lot of... Yes.
Do you ever feel like too spread thin?
Yes, all the time, every day.
I was going to say. Here, let me
Every day.
I'm just going to make sure I got your levels right here.
Yep, you good.
Pick you up just a little bit.
Yeah, there's plenty of days where I'm like, you know what I could do? Is I could just log out of SoundCloud and pretend like never any of this ever existed.
Is that where you're mostly SoundCloud?
Only. I like just bought Spotify like a month ago, and I don't know how to use it. I just do it for like to look at people's stats.
Well, I'm assuming AudioMac's cutting that check though. So you're on AudioMac too.
They were for a little bit.
Oh, they're not cutting that check anymore?
No. They like the pace to which they wanted that playlist update, that could have been tragic.
Yeah, that could have been really bad. I'm sorry. I'm just a little
no, yeah, do your thing.
here.
Do your thing. The pace to which they wanted that playlist updated, I just didn't think would match the output of the city at a high sort of caliber.
Elaborate.
So they wanted the playlist to have like 10 or 15 new songs like every 2 months or whatever.
Okay.
And you know, there's obviously financial compensation to all that because they're trying to build their platform and kind of enter these markets. And the idea was once they sort of enter all these markets, to do their own little AudioMac tour and build the tour almost as a showcase stop. So like the best artists they liked out of that city would kind of be on the bill. And so like the idea.
How do they access you off RIP? How did you set that up?
Oh man. So I guess to make a long story slightly shorter but still in length, I have a connect of a friend just based off Twitter, Mark Gianni, who is down in Atlanta.
Shout out Mark
Gianni for sure. He hit me up maybe like 3 or 4 years ago after Stiz blew up because he also does booking for A3C.
Fire.
So he's like, hey, like, you know, who else is in the city of Boston that would be coming up. So I gave him a bunch of names, whatever, and he actually booked Vintagely that year.
Nice. A3C is almost bigger than South by Southwest now, right?
I don't know. I have never been to South by Southwest. I think South by it's just bigger. It's just much more spread out.
A3C seems a little more like specifically music.
It is much more specifically like music and the business that surrounds it. And South by is more like a huge pull-up. And, like, there's a lot of, like, unofficial stuff that goes on, like, near South by. So, like, you'll have your major showcases, but, like, you could just book your own bar for the whole weekend and throw your own baby showcase. Like, not South by affiliated, but there's plenty of foot traffic.
Kind of like Mardi Gras.
Essentially. Yeah, music Mardi Gras.
Fire.
Yeah,
we should coin that and make $1 million,
music
bro.
Mardi Gras? That's not a bad one. But, yeah, met Mark. Mark had me down for A3C. And then I was at a music conference talk, and Dave Ponte, the owner of Audio Mac, was on stage.
Fire.
And he was talking about the hometown heroes things he wanted to do. And I was like, oh, God, that'd be like a perfect sort of...
Right up your alley.
Right up my alley. So I knew Mark was doing it for Atlanta. And I was like, Mark, can you have me shake a hand or two and get... I'd like to be involved in this. And, initially it was actually going to be for the Smash Bros. The Smash Bros. Had kind of already locked up that whole Boston thing.
The family cookout tape.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, no, like Audio Mac had reached out to them.
Oh, word.
To sort of take it over, which makes perfect sense. So I wasn't really too pressed. I was like, you know what, it's in great hands, 100%. And I just reached out to Mooey and Gnomes, like, hey man, just talk to Audio Mac, see you got this going on. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know. And I think they were bouncing on tour, so they couldn't develop.
Yeah, they seem like they have a ton going on too.
Yeah, so they were like, we really can't put as much time into this as we want to. Here's what we've done so far, and then I kind of picked it up from there. But yeah, they wanted a playlist like every month or every 6 weeks or whatever. Like,
and you just didn't think that there would be enough valuable music coming out of the city in that time frame? Not being a dick at all, just like...
Not being a dick at all, but, like, kind of, yeah. Because, like, you think of now, like, we do have, like, our staple releases, like the Grunge tape or the Replay tape or the Conus album, and et cetera. But, like... Also,
shout out, I saw Conus and Jeff last night. Both great tapes, man.
Yeah, they really...
Who'd you say? Oh, and you said Grunge. The Grunge tape. I love Time After Time, bro.
Yeah, that whole run was really cool. We had, like... Felix, Replay, Grunge, Conus, all at the same time. But, a lot of the stuff that I was doing for Audio Mac was asking people to upload their old songs just to get it off the ground, which was cool, which was fine. But then it just kind of got to the point where I was like, this might not kind of be at the pace where...
You don't want to degrade the value,
I don't
the brand of the city.
Exactly,
almost.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to be broadcasting something on, like, a national platform... I want it to be, the cream of the crop.
Do it the right way.
Do it the right way. So, eventually I slowed down. I didn't. I personally sort of slowed down. I wasn't on it as much as I should have been because it's a lot of work. Like, hey, like, a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually they're like, hey, like, we gotta kind of move it on. I was like, you know what?
Cool.
Agreed.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, hit me up if you ever need anything.
Fire.
Type idea, but.
It was amicable.
It was amicable. I think it's amicable. I don't know if they're like, this kid sucks. He's like so late on everything. But to me, I was like, you know what? Like, love what you guys are doing for sure. Whatever I can do to fit in with either Boston in mind or on a national scope, like totally down. I actually pitched something to them just before they kind of sent me the other email. Because I was like, hey, like, we have these giant releases right now in Boston, all these albums that are of really good quality. Like, maybe instead of, like, the Hometown Heroes playlist, maybe it's, like, every other week or something, we just kind of deep dive into this one album or something,
Fire.
So I had positioned something else that was fitting what the city was sort of outputting, but, that's their boat to drive and me to sort of be on it.
I feel you. So I didn't give you a proper introduction. To my right is a dude I respect a lot. His name is Greg Gaffney. He's a fellow white boy hustler like myself.
What up?
Welcome, man. Do you want to just kind of give a quick rundown of like who you are and what you do? Because we know you do a lot.
Man, yeah. So I'm Greg Gaffney, from Quincy, Mass. Shout out
to Q.
Shout out South Shore. Man, I do photography, some graphic design work, some playlist stuff, some writing stuff,
White boy hustler.
some blogging stuff. I just call myself a helper. Like whatever needs to get done or is lacking, like, let me step in and sort of help out. So, did the college radio thing, did the throw-in shows thing, did the interviews on camera thing, I
did some good research before it.
Yeah,
so I hope I don't let you down. We got an ex on-air personality over here.
Yeah, definitely ex on-air personality. That was not my jam.
You weren't fucking with it?
Oh no. If you've done your research, you've seen these YouTube comment sections, and
I saw one that was like, they're like, dude, this interviewer's head must have exploded after this.
Yeah, it was not a good time. I was a meme before memes were a thing.
No way.
That probably didn't show up in your research.
Do you have it on you?
I don't. It's somewhere deep in the dregs of Tumblr. I can find it.
It was a viral meme though?
Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad.
That's hilarious. Were you insecure about it?
No.
Well, bro, I have some internet history myself, so.
I think we all do. But that was a big learning point to what the relationship to the internet was. To me and my friend, we were just throwing up videos online and just calling it a day.
That was the Go Network? Was that how you said it?
Yeah, it was Go, and then before that was called On Air, Gag Radio.
But it was a little crossover at the end, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of crossed over at the end, but.
Little business maneuver, okay.
Yeah, I've done a couple things, I'd say.
I think most notably you're a massive curator now within the city. Is that, I don't want to box you in, but
yeah, I guess
right now.
I guess. And I've always had a weird relationship with like job titles or titles in general. Like people used to come up and be like, "Oh, like you're a tastemaker, bro." I was like, "I don't know what the fuck that is. I just post music, and if you guys like it, that's sick." Like to me on Twitter, I'm talking basically to myself, and if people chime in, that's cool.
You're active though.
I am active.
It's fire though, and you got this little comedy mixed in there.
Yeah. If you did your research back in the day, I actually got fired from a job to being on Twitter too much, and I tweeted through it. It was pretty fire.
Whoa, I didn't get that far back. How far back was that?
2016 or 15. It was like a 2-tweet like, just got talked to by my boss for being on my phone too much.
Fuck that dude.
Yeah, everyone's like, dude, watch out, bro. I was like, nah, I gotta get these tweets off. And like a week later, I was like, I lost my job. Does anyone have a job?
Holy shit. What was the job?
It was like an engineering consulting I hated it anyways. It was an engineering job of sorts. And
what were you like, dude, work sucks today. My boss is like getting with the assistant.
No, that was back in like my early blogging days, main photography days, where it was like, let me post on Instagram, let me do this Twitter thing, let me reach out on email to the next manager in town. And I was on my phone a lot. But to me, I thought that was important.
I'm going to put mine down because, like, dude, I've been getting way too caught up in my phone. Do you ever feel overconsumed by it?
No.
You don't?
I've had my phone on Do Not Disturb for like 2 years. It's the best decision I ever made in my life.
No bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Because I was very much the same. Like, as soon as my phone vibrated, I need to know what it was.
Something totally addicting about it.
Yeah. It's like a Pavlov dog. Every time you hear the bell, you're like, gotta check.
For me, it's just like the little red notification, the little heart on Instagram. It's like, damn, should I put some more money into this Instagram ad?
I know, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. If it's busting, it's busting,
That's what I'm saying. So you initially started with, I kind of just want you to give, I actually don't usually ask guests to do this, but I kind of want you to give a little bit of a history of Greg. Because
the runway.
Because Greg, from what I can tell, mind you, I'm only like 9, 10 months cemented in Boston now, right? Really doing my thing. But from what I can tell, Greg has seen pretty much the entire growth of Boston music from the stiggity start.
I've at least seen, yeah.
And had your hand in too.
It took me a while to participate, I will say. But I've always kind of, so I guess to sort of kick it off, I was going to college in Boston, and I was commuting.
Where was it?
Wentworth.
Word. Engineering.
Yeah, architecture, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I'd actually.
Smarty over here.
Yeah, sometimes. But yeah, just through a friend at Wentworth, I actually reconnected with a kid I went to high school with, who was a year younger than me, who was doing this music interview thing. And so I came on with them, interviewed people like Logic after his first tour.
So I was gonna say I saw that. I had a friend who was, because I went to Providence College.
You were probably
Firehouse
there.
13.
You were probably like 13 years old.
I was definitely not there at that event, but I had been in the Firehouse. You know, it just shut down, right?
Did it? It was a sketchy ass.
It was
place.
on the way. I think we were there.
It was sketchy. We pulled up. We're like, are we gonna get robbed here? Like, what's going on? It was an odd place.
It's in a tough neighborhood for sure.
It looked it.
It's like a cool, like really narrow venue.
Yeah, so tiny. Yeah.
So did you know Logic was about to be big at that point?
So I guess this is a great, so with the interviews, it wasn't just who was ever in town, it was like people we liked. And so this sort of developed both myself and my friend, well, I'll speak for myself, I don't want to speak for Jimmy, but this developed my ear in terms of, I love Logic, let's go talk to Logic, big fan of Logic, boom, and then all of a sudden Zoom, he blows up. People like Kid Ink, really like Kid Ink. Don't question that, but
I know I was gonna say, bro, there were some massive names.
Good
the Chance and Joey Badass.
Oh, here's a good one, like XV. At the time, XV was like the king of the internet, So we interview XV, and XV sort of fizzles, but Logic and G-Eazy take off, but people like Watsky and Wax don't take off, and so it was sort of like this. You could start seeing these trend curves, and to me, it was more like, okay, let's study this. Let's figure out, like, what did Logic do really well that maybe Watsky didn't do really well that made Logic go this way and Watsky go the other way.
What was it after your analysis?
It was a lot of everything. I think G-Eazy, perfect example. He's been to Boston a ton of times. He actually did his album listening party back here, like,
I love G-Eazy,
years
bro.
ago.
I don't know why people hate on him so much, dude. I think he's like
I think
dope.
it's just fun to be a joke at this point. Like, everyone's a joke at this point. Chance the Rapper's a joke. J. Cole's a joke. But, like, if anyone shook their hands, they'd shake their hands.
For sure.
But, to see, because you're so in early on with these artists, essentially, like, you have like, their personal Gmail. So anytime they're in town, you're like, hey,
fire,
remember me? Like, can we pull up? And so you see the progression of Logic on stage or G-Eazy on stage as a touring performer,
national touring act,
and as a recording act, and also just how personal they were. Like, they'll remember you by name, or they'll be like, oh, that interview, blah blah blah. It's like there are a lot of qualities that it takes off the record or off the music record, I think, to me, to make that bigger sort of connection. Not that Watsky or anyone was a dick and like didn't recognize us or anything, but there's a lot of intangibles to it. And just for me, like, seeing the way they progressed or what they did to progress, I thought was like a very like, okay, so I see what they did. That's interesting, and it makes sense because they look like that. So G-Eazy is a perfect example. He used to dress like a South, San Francisco, South Bay, like, like hyphy rapper.
I know. What was it? What was his first song called?
Oh, I don't remember.
It was like it's called like it was like Run Around Sue.
Oh, that was
after.
That was after.
That was his first like big hit.
That was
though,
his
right?
first big hit. But like, perfect example, like, he used to be on like this like E40 hyphy wave. And like, cause he grew up in New Orleans and stuff like that, so he was like really cemented in that sort of like that type of like trench. And he even, I think in our first interview, he talked about, he's like, I had to switch it up. Like, I couldn't be a 6'4" lanky white kid in these huge, Dunk SBs and like these huge pants. Like, I had to find a lane that was mine. So, okay, maybe I'll do a whole mixtape of this doo-wop samples and throw in the leather jacket and slick my hair back. And that became his whole brand.
It's shifted a little bit now, though.
It has shifted now, but you do have to have that initial sort of like curation of yourself,
for sure.
So, yeah, to loop that all back around, started with the interviews, and then obviously...
Where was the Chance? Was that Paradise?
No.
Some back staircase.
That was, shout out Tim LaRue. Tim LaRue booked that show.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I emailed Tim. Massive fan of Tim, man.
He's a class act. But he went to BU at the time. And he booked Joey Badass and Chance the Rapper.
Shorties probably loved that.
Yeah, I think it was like the basement of like some like on-campus fraternity, essentially. It was maybe like 120 people or so. It was sick. But going back to like the beginnings of Boston music, like I always knew who Tim was back then even. But like, he interviewed Chance, and then we kind of like crossed paths in the hallway as he left and I entered to interview Chance. So
it was the Fresh Air. I think that was it.
Yeah, way back in the day. Yeah. So like, pre pre how visible everyone is on the internet. Like, you kind of knew who people were, but it wasn't just cool to like go shake someone's hand or whatever.
So was there a little gag order in a fresh air beef?
No, not really. It's just like we just kind of did our own things.
I feel you.
It just wasn't as like dap everyone up you see type idea. At least for me, maybe it was just like my own insecurities or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like I knew 30 for 30 was going on, and I knew Pilot Nation, and I knew, you know, JMP and Goodwin and Christmas, and I knew that was happening. I just did never like
Ingratiated yourself.
Yeah, I was like, okay, like that's, you know, that's kind of their thing. Maybe I just do the interviews. And
So was this Malfi era too?
Yeah, that was definitely. I mean, I was.
Gang.
Yeah, I was around for Malfi era. I don't think he'd operate in the same sort of like bubble, more or less. But that's so far long ago to really lock that in. But
every time I say Malfi, dude, so everyone has a reaction. Like, I think what he did was so unbelievably impressive on a guerrilla marketing tip. Like, dude,
sure,
he was.
Yeah.
How many artists you know over here have been able to like pop up at high schools for real?
None, not many.
That's wild shit.
Yeah.
So sorry, just looping it back to your thing.
But no, that's all stuff that I sort of like keyed in on. Like, okay, how did do I like the music? No, but like, what did he do in order for the music to work? And so a lot of it's just a huge feedback loop of like getting comfortable asking people questions, listening to a lot of more music that I really wouldn't listen to, just even looking at venue calendars and be like, all right, I've never heard of this person. Let's open up 8 tabs of their music and see what's going on.
Fire. So you've always loved it.
Yeah, always just been digging. Like, I was a kid like making like the fake MySpace pages in order to upload my own like stolen music so it could play on my like page.
So you're meant for this.
I was just
Destiny.
always into music. Mm-hmm. You know, like I played music growing up. Like, we come from a really musical like household, so it's always been like very apparent. You know, but yeah, so went from interviews to picking up a camera, because obviously the interview's done on camera.
Were you picking up a Rebel, Canon Rebel?
No, I was a Nikon guy. Still am a Nikon guy, but I had, you know, so I started doing the concert photography as well as the interviews, and then once my boy who helped me with the interviews, or basically did all the interviews, kind of moved on, just did photography, and the photography turned into let me find a blog to host these things. Started working with Harden the Paint.
Who's that?
Shout out Eric Burnson.
Oh,
Shout
dude,
out Scott
yeah,
Walsh,
Eric,
Lindsey
word.
Gamble. That was like the first sort of iteration of, I'd say, graduation music in terms of like how curated it was to at home. So did a little blogging for them. Got my photography up on there.
So you're doing all this work pro bono? Correct?
Oh yeah. I haven't got paid for anything like ever.
Listen, that probably kills you though, right? Dude.
Well, I think this is probably a whole different side, but like being able to maintain my desk job and my other jobs has allowed me to always act in the most like holistic way possible, where I don't have to chase a check about shooting a concert I don't care about or writing about an artist I don't care about. I can just do everything I want as I want to. Especially
in a market where music doesn't have the highest payout.
Yeah.
Specifically
Boston.
For sure.
So
it's a summation right now, the way you're describing it, but how long was this period? This is like 3 years, 4 years doing this shit?
I think I interviewed Logic when I was 19. So I think I did interviews from about 19 to, I'd say, 21.
Word.
And then...
And you're going to Wentworth this whole time?
Yeah. By 21, I turned 21, then I graduated. And then after I graduated, I think we still did a couple interviews. Yeah, we did. And then eventually kind of molded into just the photography.
What were your desk jobs during this time?
Man, when I first got out of college, I worked at a shoe store. Just posted.
Where?
Olympia Sports in Quincy.
Oh, where? Shoe store.
Yeah.
Dude, actually, it was Concepts.
No, just...
Like, yeah, I worked at Sports Authority.
No, just Junkie Central in Quincy Center.
I know. Wow. Well, my pops works his
Hancock
office.
Street, right? Is that what you're saying?
Bergen Parkway.
Got you. Yeah, so I was working in Quincy, and then I was designing Stop and Shops, and then I moved on from the Stop and Shop to the engineering company.
Designing?
Yeah, like the store itself.
Like the layout of product?
Yeah, like all of it, like the registers, aisles, where the bathrooms are.
Why were they were building new Stop and Shops? Because there's that one like right off Bergen Parkway.
Yeah, well, the headquarters is in Quincy.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that big old building, like basically right near that Burger King.
I'm sure there's been riots as of recent.
Probably.
Those rallies are crazy.
Yeah, that place sucked anyways. Fuck that place.
It was tough.
Yeah, it was tough. Then I went to the engineering job, and then I'm back in like my kind of field, but design Dunkin' Donuts right now.
Fire.
So if you see any new Dunkins in Boston with like the whole new look, that's your boy.
So this is all in. So you got your architecture degree?
Mhm. Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm caught, right? Like I can easily just shut down my entire Google Chrome and never look at another thing.
So are all your colleagues in the architecture world, are they aware that you're also like a music aficionado in Boston?
No, none of them.
That's wild
None of
shit.
them.
Well, you know what I do outside this?
No, what do you do?
I help market a children's author. So I'll be in
Really?
So I'll be in schools during the day.
Huh.
And then I'm C Diddy at night.
That's fire.
So
You help market a children's author. That's interesting. That's very niche.
Absolutely. It's the most strange power dynamic ever because you're trying to demand the attention of kids. So it's like, whoa, how do we do this in the most non-exploiting way possible?
Right. There is a fine line between like doing it ethically and doing it
absolutely
not maliciously, but doing it with like a business mindset. But
well, so have you noticed a crossover between the two worlds?
Definitely.
I was gonna say
definitely.
I'm
and
just
I
pick this up.
oh yeah, do your thing. I talk about it often. Architecture is a solution to a problem that you don't know the answer to. Every building or every different situation is entirely different. And the idea is that good architecture, like, the big-ass fancy buildings, it's supposed to evoke some sort of emotion, right? Like, you're supposed to feel something when you go inside. Like, when you go inside,
you feel like
the Museum of Fine Arts, like, you're like, wow, okay, this is important. I don't know why just yet, but it feels important.
Is it because it's spatially open?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, there's all different sort of strategies. And music, I kind of love asking this question, is music art or design? And it's both, because there is an end user in mind.
Consumer.
There's a consumer. Similar with architecture, there's going to be an occupant to that building. Art, I can just throw stuff at a wall and put it up on a wall, and hopefully someone feels something about it. But design has that, what do they want? If I'm going to build a building in California, what does that look like and feel like? And so I've always sort of seen music in sort of a design realm where it's like, okay, like, if you're going to make a song, or if this song is going to be for somebody, who is it going to be for? And that's why I thought people like Logic and G-Eazy were so successful, because their output matched what they looked like, which matched their consumer base. And they marketed to that consumer base in that way.
So you think they had a solid touch on who their audience was?
100%. 100%.
How do you gauge that now when artists specifically, honestly, even the podcast, sometimes I don't even know who's listening or consuming this type of content. But how do you gauge that now when everything is the internet and you can't even a lot of people don't even make face-to-face with their consumer?
No, but I'm sure there's a lot of, I know there's a lot of insights on artists.spotify.com, and, if you have a label, you have market research.
I know, but aside from the analytics, I don't think the analytics can totally pick up the way the consumer's feeling about your product.
No, there is a balance between what the numbers say and what the people say, and sometimes either one can be right or wrong.
If you're going big business, yeah, just stick to the spreadsheet. But to really understand how, to be honest, last night shout out to Marika for her amazing gallery. Last night, I had a handful of people come up to me that I would never think have encountered some of this stuff, and they were like, "Yo, bro, we really like what you're doing." I'm like, "Yo, I'm gonna keep it a buck. You're 18 years old, but thanks for listening, man." You know what I'm saying?
That's how it goes, right? That's that feedback loop that you're looking for.
How do you gauge that though when it's not always as accessible?
You see what your connection is, via Instagram, via Twitter. And I always like to say this to all my art, all the artists that I kind of have questions or just kind of poke brain, look at the people that you don't know. Me and you can just make connections with our actual connections. They're probably going to like what we do because that's just our actual connection. But the random kid from middle of nowhere who just tunes into your stuff, who has no skin in the game, as a friend, why, and ask that question. Or at least just be like, hey man, not sure how you found my stuff. Really love the fact that you're... So, yeah, it's a lot of research. You look through your Instagram followers, your likes, see who's engaging the most, your Twitter, see who's commenting back. And...
So I think now, this is somewhat irrelevant, but I think now in such an oversaturated market for everything, right? And honestly, at this rate, it's probably only going to become even more oversaturated. I think artists have to start playing a longer game than they're playing. I think anybody producing any sort of content has to just be as authentic as possible. That's probably the only real way to get a competitive advantage, right?
That is. Yeah, that is.
Patience.
Excuse me, but you have to, a lot of research, not only about like yourself, but just about like what digital marketing, digital branding, looks like in this day and age. It's participating in the community that you eventually want to be a part of, or you think that fits you the best. And then it's really just a point of, get in where you fit in. Like, we've had a number of artists come out of Boston without ever actually using the Boston scene. You know what I mean?
Shout out
Fast Coop, and then there's people like Claro,
Amazing, dude.
People like Knock from the Future.
Knock from the North?
Yeah.
Knock from the Future. Or the song's called Up North,
it's
right?
Up North, yeah. But
damn, bro, I'm so glad you know that song.
He's from this area. That's a good friend of mine.
Was he from Harvard?
No.
He was a student, wasn't he?
No. I'm not gonna. I don't want.
Oh yeah, I know he has an alias.
He has a thing, but put in perspective that there's people who have come up out of this area.
He was torn in Europe or something.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I fucking love that song.
Yeah, that song's a really good song.
Who is it? Night Lavelle?
Night Lavelle and Stiz on it, yeah. But like, there's been plenty of people up out of this area without ever using this area in a scene.
A lot of it use the internet.
Exactly. So it's just figuring out where you fit in, how you fit in there, why do you fit in there, do you want to fit in there?
True.
And figuring out that way.
So, would you say you're Boston's boy?
I don't know. I don't want to lay claim to anything at all. Like,
well, you know what I really fuck with what you've done, dude, is like, you might like talk a ton on Twitter, but you're out here making like face-to-face connections with millions of people. That is like above and beyond like the most effective.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I really don't. I really don't understand it. Like, I never like I've never really like tried to let me blog in order to get these people's attentions. It's just like the whole Elevator thing popped up because I think Elevator had put out a tweet like, artists, send us your songs or whatever. And I was like, what if I want to write for you guys?
Fire.
And then one of the editors hit me up, and it was just kind of a wrap from there. And
do you know how major of a look that is for the city?
Yeah.
I don't think. Well, do you really understand?
I do.
Dude, it is so major.
I do. And with great power becomes great responsibility, but also this is something I've talked about to other people as well, is like, content only matters when the content matters.
Facts.
I can put up every single song in the world that I see on Elevator if I really wanted to. There's nothing holding me back. But is it going to make an impact? But do I see longevity in it? But is it going to be the best representation of the brand Elevator? Because, it's not just my personal blog. They have a whole 7-year agenda that they've been not agenda. That sounds kind of political, but
they have a plan.
They have a plan. They have a brand. They have a look. They have, so it is sort of like, content only matters when the content is good enough to matter.
Facts.
That's why people get posted on Pigeons and Planes and blow up immediately and then never blow up.
Same shit with Elevator. There are videos who might only have 5,000 views still, and there's some that have millions.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's like...
How do you navigate that, though? Because you also, I'm sure you have friends in the scene, like, without having your own bias in the front of your mind. Does that make sense? Because, dude, if I was in your position and I've already done it with this, like, I like putting my friends in better positions.
Yeah. And I do. I do have, like, a national scope, and it's kind of the same with the playlist. Like, I do have, like, a national scope with a slight eye over on Boston more often than not, But it's also about being honest. People, can I get a post? Like, hey, you know what? Like, if you really want this post, I'll give it to you. I personally am not the biggest proponent of this. And a lot of the time, like,
Don't
people...
say that, Greg. Watch out.
A lot of people...
start hitting you in the DM worse than they're hitting you before.
A lot of people are very appreciative of that.
Just putting people on?
No, just being true. Like, if this isn't something that you rock with, like, I'm gonna make sure the next one I got is, like, better than this.
Oh, so you're saying that you say that to them, saying, "Yo, honestly, I'll let you up here, but I don't think you're hitting."
Yeah, like, I'm not huge on this, and they're like, say less. They respect the fact that I'd keep it that real.
So, honestly, I've seen your Twitter, dude, and like when you expose people, it's hilarious.
I don't expose anybody. What are you talking about?
Oh no, usually you etch out their name, bro. But how about it was like, yo, Merry Christmas, by the way.
That shit was hilarious.
Yo, you do write-ups, bro? Merry Christmas, by the way.
That shit was so funny to me.
I just had someone DM me something like, new tape coming, lock in with me, bro.
Yeah, it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like,
dude,
I'm at the grocery store. Like, people forget that, like, you're a whole human being. Like,
that's what I'm saying, bro. Nobody understands that this is not an account. There's someone behind the account.
Yeah, like DMing me at like 10:30 at night. Like, bro, did you get a chance to watch my video? I'm like, dude, I'm laid up with my girl. Like, leave me alone.
Oh my
My
God.
favorite one was the dude who hit me up at midnight. Bro, check this video. All right, bro, I got you. 8 a.m. the next day. Yo, did you get a chance? I'm like, bro, I fucking slept. Can I get like 8 hours of sleep without being like attached to my email? So
I know. Is it ever like, it's a weird position to be in because, in a way, you're just like you're a servant to the platform. So like, do you ever feel like people come up to you and they're just like fully just trying to use you?
100%. Yeah.
Does it kill you?
Depends on the day.
Isn't it weird how humans act like that though?
Yeah. It depends on the day, but it is weird. And
you can tell 10 times out of 10 you can totally tell if someone just wants something.
And that's usually people I weed out immediately. Like, if that email isn't valid, it's a dub.
Elaborate.
Like, if that email sucks, or if that email doesn't like even begin to like, you got to play the game. You got to play the game.
Be political a little bit.
Be political.
I think he'll probably be here after, but my friend's coming up. He's going to be in the studio in a little bit. And I was like, dude, like, you have to prepare these things professionally. Not even like, dearest Greg Gaffney. Like, it's got to be like, hey, man, I saw your post about, you know, whatever it was. Like, the Uno the Activist video. You know, I fucking love that video. You know, I think you made it. Like, you know, you got to play that game of, like, I see what you've done. Here's where I sort of fit in. You can't just be like, bro, here's my video. And just kind of send it. I'm just going to be like, cool, delete. Maybe watch like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. If it's not like smacking me in the face, it's out. And what people don't understand is, dude, like, if you send that first one, and it's terrible, you're burning a bridge off rip, dude.
Pretty much, yeah. A lot of people don't get that either. Like, they like, people, like, for whatever reason, I'm on their email list, and like, every time they drop a song, I get notified of it. And it's like, if 3 of those songs are bad...
Oh, here, I just got to text him.
Yeah. If 3 of those songs, like, aren't good... I'm not opening up your next email. So there is a level of approach that you have to be mindful of, and a level of professionalism that you have to be mindful of. But yeah, I am a servant to the platform, which is fine because, like, you know, the people who are really appreciative of that look, or who I give that look and then something else really cool happens, I'm like, cool, sick, like something came of this. That's why I do it.
This is my boy South. He's here a little late. Do you mind if he comes in here and just sits in?
Yeah, that's fine.
Word, okay. He's a good dude, I promise.
While we're doing that, I'm going to just run to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, no, straight. Yeah, straight. Okay.
Solid.
We're back here at the
Golden
Deer News Network. So, Kev, why don't you just swing up, because you're just interrupting our flow, but that's cool, man. You want to swing up and say hi?
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah, tell him tape on the way.
Tape on the way.
So, funny thing about Kev is this dude, he's been working on a tape. He literally picked up a job as like a radio intern.
Solid, yeah. Hell yeah.
To drop the tape.
Hell yeah.
Dude probably won't work for them in 2 weeks.
Fuck it, man. Listen, it's all about opening up, you know, new networks, or like taking an internship even here where you have a recording booth that you can just pop into. Like, it's all about the finesse.
Okay. Is that what it is? Freestyle Thursdays?
I'm doing freestyle Thursdays.
All about the finesse.
Well, are they free? They're new verses?
Hey, tune in and find out.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
So, well, Kevin, it will be interesting because what we were talking about before, our slight hiatus is the terrible emails we receive sometimes, and,
Yeah.
and the importance of like actually nurturing something, just showing you fucking care at a certain point, you know, like.
Yeah.
I also people ever say like, "Yo, those are for you, bro."
These are cute.
Thanks, dude. That's it, just cute.
Yeah, they're cute, man. Thank you.
Well, the other gift after the episode will also be cute.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Oh shit.
So we were talking about like kind of how it just obliterates. If you make a bad first impression via email, via DM, it obliterates any chance you have building it going forward. Would you concur?
I would concur. I would concur. It depends on the person too, but I would concur. Like there's certain ways like I know people are gonna interact with me, whether it's like an IG DM or like a full on email. But I don't know. I don't want to. Yeah.
How did I do?
You did good. You
Thanks,
did good.
man.
Yeah. I think you did all right.
I'm happy you're here.
Thank you. Thank you. That phone number is that last step.
That phone number.
That phone number.
I'm in.
That phone number is like okay.
Oh, how was Cali, by the way? Good.
Cali was interesting. Yeah.
You were doing music stuff out there?
Not really. Nah, a little bit, but not like nothing too crazy. It was more like a big old visit, kind of meet up with some of the homies, meet new friends, meet new faces, etc. Kind of going back on that whole point. But yeah, it was cool. I caught a couple shows, talked to a bunch of people, hung out with some friends. LA's a vibe.
You have a question?
I do have a question.
What's up?
Okay, well, thanks for interrupting the show, Kev. That's
No,
cool.
go ahead.
No, that's cool, Kev. No, that's cool, Kev.
So we was watching your interviews. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm an artist myself, and since you've interviewed established artists, what would you say the difference between them and like the local artists, just in general?
Got you.
Wait, before you start, I'm just gonna because they
Yeah,
probably didn't pick up on
recap
the mic.
it, yeah.
Kev said that me and South were watching your interviews, Chance one specifically, and he said, "What has the difference been in interacting with professional artists as opposed to local artists trying to reach a professional level?"
I don't think there is one, and it kind of goes back to that weird sort of dichotomy of like you kind of have to get out of your city to get out of your city. Chance is a local in Chicago at that point. You know, he's in rap battles and poetry groups just like everyone else out here would be. And like, you know, Acid Rap wasn't even out then. It was only the single. Granted, he had like, you know, those two good tapes which got him to open for Joey, but at the same time, like, Joey and Chance at that point are local for somebody else. So I think the difference, there really isn't really a difference. Like, they didn't pull up anything lavish. You know, they came in a Sprinter bus packed at 8 people when it should fit 6. You know, it's a very similar grind to what anyone else out here would go through.
I wonder what that show fee was at that time.
That show fee?
Their
Probably
show.
wasn't a fee.
You think they did it for free?
Probably. I mean, I know Tim booked, like, Tim would definitely know, but yeah, it is that, like, it's a legitimate, like, let me go buy out this venue in New York and get 3 New York artists on it and me and my boy, and then just hopefully meet the 60. Yeah, there's not really much of a difference in terms of like their personality or, you know, the aura or anything like that. I think it's just a matter of where you're at.
Clout.
I mean, the music has to be there, right? Like, you know, Chance had Acid Rain out at that point, which was like a really good song.
That was mad funny in the interview. You're like, yo,
bro,
do you get reamed for it all the time?
All the time, all the time.
That's hilarious.
I'm mad that you guys picked up on like the shittiest interview of all time.
No,
that was
no,
the hardest one.
I could tell because mind you, I have a little bit of a sense because I do this.
Yeah.
It's like there were people moving in and out, dude. There were loud noise.
It was like 3 a.m. and there's a whole group of people like behind the camera. So I like
and it's
look
overwhelming
up, and
as
I'm
fuck.
just like, oh no. And then like I
you were
say
also
like
in like 18, 19.
yeah, I was like 19, 20, and of course I say like hi, and my boy on the camera goes, yo, hold up, and I was like, huh? And that just tripped the whole interview off the wrong way.
I feel you, and there's a level of anxiety sometimes because you.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
And they were not helping.
Nah, they weren't helping. They tried to make it better. I'm gonna give Joey and Chance both credit. Like they tried to play it off like and introduce themselves the other way. Like they tried to play it off, but I just tunnel visioned.
Yeah, I've taken some L's. I've taken some L's similar. So like when I was at PC, I was pretty notorious for my YouTube videos because I was making sketches, and there was PC had just won a buzzer beater in the national championship, and
Gotcha.
so there was this big riot in the streets, and so there was a news truck there the next day after the riot, and so they were like, oh, like what happened with this, like blah 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 blah, and so I, like, for 5 minutes plugged the YouTube channel. I was like, yo, it's Coach Connie on YouTube. You already know the deal, man. Like, yeah, come follow me, whatever. And she was like, okay, so, like, tell us about the riots. And I was like,
no, the YouTube banging.
And so I was just, like, being, like, little, like, flamboyant acting mode. I was like, well, they were, like, really dangerous. I actually am still wearing the same pants. I have blood on my pants. And then, like, right after, I was like, but that's the same energy we need to bring, like, at the next game, blah, blah, blah. And I swear to God, the news cut it up like this. One student recalls certain dangers from the riot. and it was like, yeah, there was blood on my pants,
Oh,
and I was like,
no.
you motherfucker.
Oh no, you just totally backfired on you.
I feel you though, man. Know what's dope about the internet though is it's documented your growth. You know, isn't that fire?
It's every now and then, like, whatever reason, I'll just go back and like look at one of them, like, you know what, like, let's just pop back on like this interview, and I'm like, wow, we've all come such a long way, like, between like myself, between like the artists, like it's all kind of interesting to look at.
So what do you think on a growth tip? Like, what has been your biggest thing? Like, what do you feel? Are there certain things every year you're like, you know what, I'm going to curate more playlists this year. I'm going to do this year.
Nah. Which is probably like, I should probably pay more attention to it, like to critique myself. Like, I should probably have some sort of, let's try to do this year. But it's really just been very like spur of the moment as it's gone.
Where does all this map for you though? Do you know?
Nah, that's why I'm taking these trips to like L.A. and Cali and
Like
New
soul
York and
searching
stuff,
type
and just
trips?
like soul searching, but also just kind of like knocking on these doors. Like, I do have the ears of some pretty, people who could like make some things happen. It's like, okay, like, what could you make happen if I moved out here and quit my jobs? Like, what could, like, like, just trying to like put my feelers out, see who's out there, see what opportunities are out there, and then
But is any of your long-term goal rooted in totally uplifting Boston's music scene?
Yeah.
Because you've been doing it. And I know it's not like bang, boom, smack. That's not what the market's like right now. But long-term, it's like, yo, I was kind of that dude that made this motherfucker happen.
I mean, I would love, and I've always like flirted with this idea. Like, I don't even know what would take to do it, but I've always wanted to own like a bar, venue, restaurant.
Fire.
We
should go splitsies on it, man.
I know, right? Well, my one of my best friends, his dad's like the LeBron James of like the Boston bar scene.
Is it Lions Group?
No, we'll take that offline. But like, he's like a super OG. Like, there's anyone to know, it's him, and he knows everyone else. So it's
Fire.
like, what if we went on a venue, and then me and your son did the music side, and then you and your son did the restaurant side, and kind of like made it kind of work that way. But there's,
I could see that happening.
it's
for sure.
hard, and it's something that I think about. Like, this part of the country is so old in terms of its socioeconomics that, like, you go to Atlanta or something, you can get a 4-bedroom apartment for $2,000 a month and make 2 rooms your entire studio. And even though rent is cheaper down there, the price online is always the same. There's no
elaborate.
There's no inflation online. If I'm producing up here in Massachusetts, let's say I'm a producer, right, and I sell a beat, and I need, for my rent and my sort of infrastructure up here, I need no less than $500 for that beat. But if I was doing the exact same thing in Atlanta, my infrastructure would be way less, and so I can maybe sell that exact same beat for $150.
I feel you.
You know what I mean? So
there's richer, younger people down there.
Because you have more leeway between what you make and what you
Less
owe.
overhead.
Less overhead. There's so much overhead up here that, like, to be able to open up something like this studio, shout out John Scott, like, it's just like, it's clearly possible because we're sitting in one, but it's like, dude, what does that take?
I was the guy
who
linked them. No, I was the guy who linked Greg and John.
That's facts.
I'm owning it.
That's facts. But
I linked John and Latrell. I'm owning it.
But it's like it's something I think about, but it's like what would I do has always been the question.
Can I keep it a buck with you, bro?
Mm-hmm.
I think you're incredibly smart, man. Kev, can you grab that? There's freeze at the door. Student does this almost every podcast. So do you feel like you have the most responsibility now because of the elevator tip?
I don't know. I try to reduce the notion of the overthinking of responsibility. Like, I know I have plays I can make, and it's just a matter of when I make them.
Where did the business sense come from? Like, is this in your family?
What, like?
Well, you have a business mind for sure.
I don't know where it came from.
Just doing a lot of shit for free. Like, I gotta start making that bag.
No, I still haven't made anything back. Like, shout out Def Jam, like, they threw the bag.
Let's go.
But this is a perfect thing. Like, if I never did all this blogging for free, I would have never caught the ear of someone at Def Jam PR who was sending me PR emails, and she would not have liked my writing enough to eventually open up the money lane for me.
Yeah, you just blew the network open.
Yeah, and like
for the free.
Yeah, so you do all this shit for free for a while, and then
That's my guy.
one person with the bag who needs what you do for free will give you money for it. And same with photography. Like
It's a measure of patience, though.
it is a measure of patience. It is a labor of love. It's always a labor of love. Anything like between music, any sort of creative output that doesn't have like a supply and demand chain like a normal like carpenter would, it's always going to be like, okay, there's probably going to be a lot of years of doing a lot of things.
Just grinding.
Yeah, for nothing, and then it might click.
But you caught a Boston Music Award somewhere there in the mix, though. We'll take
I got nominated for a
Oh,
couple.
you didn't catch that? The photographer?
Man,
Who won
they
it?
fucked on me.
They should have nominated Marika, man, too.
Yeah, and they're trying. They're trying really hard because they are so that Boston Music Award is so rooted
It's clicky.
in like the indie rock scene.
It's just like it's just like a subgroup of people, and then there's another subgroup of people
Yes.
who want to make it one massive subgroup.
Yes, like the only reason they even caught wind of me was because like I dropped a comment on their IG one day. I was like, "Hey, would love these photos. Would be really cool to be part of it next year." And the guy hit me up. I was like, "Yo, I had no idea you existed."
The dude who runs Vanyaland?
No, the dude who runs Boston Music Award, Paul Armstrong.
Yeah, he runs Vanyaland, too.
Does he? Or does he own Vanyaland?
Either way,
He runs
Vanyaland
it?
catches the award every year.
That's facts. But like he hit me up. I was like, "Oh, I had no idea this was even a thing in Boston." So I was the first year I was the only rap photographer in class, and I ended up having two photos chosen to get into like the final round, which I thought was pretty cool. But
Shooting on that Nikon?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it goes to actually one was an iPhone photo, but don't tell nobody.
What, a little filter in there?
Nah, no filter. I did a little editing, but like no like crazy filter or anything. But
Hey, I've made this joke like 500,000 times on the show, but
it's all filmed on iPhone.
No, it's filmed on a $500,000 camera.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nobody else could do this, what I'm doing besides me.
No, but the Boston Music Award is trying. Like they're definitely opening up more doors to like the rap, hip hop world or whatever. There's still a lot of work to do.
Do you think that's the most prevalent genre in Boston right now?
No.
Honestly, someone was saying that to me, like, dude, you don't even know what's going on like the rock and the indie scene.
Yeah.
It's not even?
It's not close.
What's the biggest?
It's the rock. It's the rock like indie world.
What venues?
Sure. Man, Sinclair. Like there's a lot of smaller venues that like would be hosting a lot more things, like random bar nights and stuff like that. But in terms of like, not that like there are indie bands here that have like a longevity of like been around since 2008, have toured four times, blah 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 blah. Like they have legacy for sure.
Do they have like a prevalent turnout every show?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say.
How big?
I'd probably say I'd give them like 200, 300-ish in
Wow.
that range. In that range,
There is no Boston artist doing that right now.
You'd be surprised. I think.
Bro.
I think you'd be surprised. This Donald Grunge show could get 150, 200. I would say.
Well, I wasn't there, but I saw the what they did at Thrive. That was sick.
Yeah, that looked really cool. So like there is something viable there. It's just a matter of like when it becomes like fully baked.
Were you at the earliest Stiz shows?
Yeah.
What were those like, man? I wasn't even touched in.
Those are nuts.
Wild.
I was at the Middle East upstairs one.
Sold out?
It sold out like the day of. So it took a little bit.
Fucking sick. He's selling at the House of Blues nearly.
In a day and a half. You know what I mean?
It's just possible in the city.
It is possible. It just takes a lot of the right things for sure. But it is possible. Yeah, those early Stiz shows were very similar to what I see now in terms of like the whole room sort of knew each other. The whole room knew those songs. It's not just like a cool like let's just pull up as like the click and just kind of post up. Like it was very much there like music first, which I think still exists at certain shows in Boston today.
For sure. Was it do you think was it just Stiz as like the clearly like he was the pioneer at the time?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of artists that are doing cool stuff now.
Yeah. Stiz had an energy to him, like a magnetism to him that you can't just replicate magnetism. Like you kind of like the music is really good. I mean, and it started off Shout Out, and that got a huge Complex look back in the day, and we all knew Shout Out was good, and then the album was even better, Suffolk County. So it starts with the music, and then it does take a level of magnetism that
Be
you
charismatic.
can't coach.
Charismatic leader, right?
Yeah. Those were wild days, for sure.
Whoa, that could have also been tragic. Yo, this episode isn't sponsored by Dunkin's or Starbucks, but if you want to cut that check, cousin, give me a laugh, Kev. Come on. There we go. Me and Kevin besties for a while.
That's tight.
So, where do you think? So here's another thing, because I had this idea for a clip coming into this. If someone wants to reach out to you in the most respectful way possible, without seeming that, let me start over, because I want to make sure it sounds really good when I cut up for Instagram. If someone wants to reach out to you, right, without insinuating that you are a robot or an alien, and you're a real human behind your phone, what is the most professional and best way to do it? And what do you look for?
Okay, these are...
Before you start, how is that for a question?
It was a good question.
Thank you. How am I doing?
You're doing very good. You're doing very good.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah. There's very little lag, which is good. You know, I think these podcasts can easily start developing to like a spin the tires until I remember what I want to talk about and then catch off. So.
You should have seen the early ones. Whoa.
So like, yeah.
Dude, what's your inspiration, dude?
Yeah. And I'm by no means an expert. Everyone is different, but these are my tips to reaching out to anybody on any platform to do anything at all. If you cannot find their email, you tweet them once and ask for their email. If they do not give you their email, call it a wrap and try again later.
See ya.
Kinda, right? Kinda. You do have to sort of kind of earn that attention, right? Especially if I make it known that I don't want my email out there, it better be a good goddamn reason that I'm giving you my email.
So hold up. Email's where it's going down.
Email. 100% email, because like everyone else, I text my girlfriend on my phone, my dad on my phone. You know, I'm looking at memes on Instagram. Like, I do not want DMs. I do not want text messages in between of me and my girlfriend trying to decide where I go to dinner. Like, the email is for business. You put on the business suit when you go to business. You put it in the business email when it's going to business. Whatever that business email looks like, it goes there first.
Okay.
I would say you give maybe a 5-day lead time to a 1 follow-up. Hey, just wanted to circle back, you know, hoping you had a second to check out this song and let me know what you thought of it, where it might fit, X, whatever you want, right? Just let me just reiterate why I'm kind of reaching out. Show
no typos.
Hopefully no typos. If you miss an apostrophe in I'm or your, like, it's not going to be the end of the world.
But you do notice the mispronunciations, bad words.
But that's fine. Like, I like when I type my emails back to people, like, if I'm going to say, like, I'm going to look at it, I'm going to be like Gonna.
Man, if someone types, they don't capitalize their I, or instead of YOU, they do U. That's hitting the trash.
Yeah,
brother.
that's there are
because you're not trying.
There are nuances to it, right? But yeah, I'd give it a 5-day to a 1 follow-up, and if after that 1 follow-up doesn't happen, try again next time.
And make sure that music's hitting, right?
Make sure the music's good too. Like, I get so much music that I just realistically can't put on elevator. You know, like, cool, I like it, but like, it's indie pop bedroom music. Like, since when does Elevator really consider themselves like in that world? Like, love the song, but I can't do anything with it really. I could, but like, you know, it takes there. You have to, again, it's just get in where you fit in.
What is Elevator's world?
Clout rap, I would say.
But I've noticed some deviations.
There are some deviations,
and I'm sure someone up top there is like, you know what, genres and music shift, right? You don't think this wave of rap's going anywhere?
I think it's gone for sure. I just think people aren't as quick to adopt that it's gone.
Oh, so okay, I feel you. So you're saying that it might take some time for them to shift genres, but on a business tip, they must be expecting like, hey, let's anticipate this shift in consumer preference, right?
Yeah, but there's always going to be a market for whatever it is. Like, you will have like your fans at the end of the day, and they are to the point now where like they're so big that like, yeah, the numbers may not look like what they used to be on YouTube or whatever, but like they'll be sufficient. And
that's the power of the internet. Those YouTube channels are going nowhere, man. They're only going to keep growing.
Man, YouTube's trying to take them all down.
Why?
like copyright issues. Even if so, like there's a lot of like little curated YouTubes for like pop, R&B, whatever. And I know those channels go out and actually get signatures off of art. Same with Elevator, you have to sign a content release form. Like, I agree that so-and-so can use this and not take any money, whatever, blah, 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 X, Y, Z. And YouTube's, like, taking down those channels because, like, I don't know who's submitting a copyright claim because the person already knows that they took their music,
That's slimy.
Yeah, so YouTube's doing some weird stuff.
Way to not develop a long-term relationship with someone.
Yeah, and again, like, just the same with YouTube channel. There's someone, like, behind the scenes, like, at work, saving all these links, going, oh, I gotta download this later and reach out to them and put it up on my YouTube channel and shout them out on Instagram. Like, a lot of work goes into it just for someone, a bigger conglomerate, just to strike them down. But it does suck. But
so, is there, like, as a curator, in the curating mind of Greg, right? I know you got work.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
Big business, Greg.
I just want to see what that time looks like. Okay, bet. We're
how
good.
long is it?
Like 37 minutes or 40 minutes. So we're good for a bit.
It's a 37-minute drive?
Mm.
Okay, then we'll get out of here in 10 so I can introduce you to John. I'm going to put us on Instagram Live list, right?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So Greg, after this, is going to work his job. Greg is a human, not just a Twitter account.
Yeah, we got to eat. Can't eat off retweets, although that'd be sick if I could.
That'd be fire. They'll probably monetize that soon. It's going to look like it's just the Greg show. Is that cool with you? You look fine, bro. Don't worry.
That's fine.
So in the curating brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to have access to massive Spotify playlists? Is that like the curator's dream?
I mean, yeah, because that's how you really change someone's life, which is really weird that all these companies are fighting over the same Spotify playlist, and Spotify as a company is still yet to turn a profit. So it's very volatile, like everyone's building the plane as it's flying, pretty much. But yeah, I just hope that people listen to the playlist and important people look at it, and maybe Spotify likes it. And so I got one really cool win off the playlists a little earlier in the playlist. So similar, going back to the photography, I hit up Earth Gang's manager when they were opening for Mac Miller, because I wanted to not sneak into the show, but I wanted to get in the show. I was like, hey, would love to like do photography for you guys, XYZ. Their manager Zeke, really good friend, followed me on Twitter so I could DM him back and forth, whatever. And he just kept following me, which was cool, like whatever. And then I started,
this guy's got some fire content.
Yeah,
this guy's calling people out for their terrible DMs.
Well, I think I started blogging, so he's like, okay, this kid might, be on music more than. So in any case, started doing these playlists, and just kept pumping them out.
This is the Greg Put Me On.
This is the Greg Put Me On.
They're great, man. I've listened to a couple. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You got a great pulse, bro. You do. I mean, I know it's happened over time, but dude, you like have a really good taste in music.
Yeah, eventually you kind of just unlock it. You kind of see the chess moves that happen. But
shout out to Seamus Faye too. You got an incredible sense too.
Yeah, Seamus is the GOAT.
Seamus, I hope I can get you up here, man. I promise I'm a good dude.
We'll get him up here. But so Zeke started following me, and then Earth Gang gets pretty sizable, and then the manager ends up joining a joint deal with starting a record label essentially, and they're like, hey man, like, he hit me back up, he's like, yo, I see you are always listening to all this new music that's like, unpushed. Like, we're starting a record label, like, who do you think would be like a really good fit? Or like, who do you think is like really talented? And just based off the playlist, I found some kid from Austin, Texas.
Who's that?
Put him in this kid named Malik. I put him in the playlist, and he reached out like, yo, how did my music get to Boston? I was like, I don't know, man, but whatever it is, I like it. Whatever you need, let me know. So we developed a really good working relationship there. Like, he sent me all his demos. What do you want? Like, what do you think of this one? Just made a relationship. And when when Zeke hit me up, like, oh, who do you think is tight? I'm like, oh, this kid Malik. I like him. I heard some of his demos. He's a solid dude. Next thing you know, Malik's out in L.A. in like the Dreamville sessions, and
whoa.
Next thing you know, Malik's signed to a deal and gets to quit his job.
And Greg put him on.
Next thing you know, he's like producing for Ariana Grande. So he's like, yo, I don't know what you did or who
Tell
you
him to fly you out.
I know. Nah, I mean, it's
Malik.
Yeah, no, he's still a really good friend of mine. Like, we still talk all the time. But it's little wins like that where it's like, word, like, just for me being on SoundCloud way too much, like, and one kid reaching out and being proactive and you know, and me just keeping my ears open, that changed that kid's life. Like, he got to quit his job, he moved to LA, he's producing for the biggest pop star in the world.
So, but you on a selfish tip, are you ever like, you know what, dude, I've done so much to lift these people up. When can I catch the dub? When can I not? I don't want to work the 3 jobs anymore.
Yeah, part of it. Yeah, for sure. There's days where I'm like, fuck all of this. Like, none of this has ever panned out the way I want it to. And then other days it's like, but nah, I changed that kid's life. Like, maybe the next kid I find, I could change his life too.
But you on a selfish tip, when is it? Where do you want to get with it? You know what I'm saying?
I'm still trying to find that out. I still don't know.
Is that you just like overthinking things though too, or do you really think you haven't tapped into it yet?
It's hard. Shout out my dad.
Shout out Pops.
Shout out Arnie. You find him in Malachi's bar Wednesday nights playing Irish traditional music. Pull up, it's lit.
Shout out to Irish people.
But like, part of it's like, you know, he has like the classic coming to America story. Came over with like 2 suitcase worth of clothes.
Oh, you're second generation. I'm
first generation. So I'm born here, but my dad moved here.
Thick accent.
It's still there. It's not as thick as it used to be, but
slowly degrading.
Yeah, I think today is his 33rd anniversary in America. Shout out my dad a little more.
Shout out Pops.
But he has that classic, like, you know, come to America story. And, like, I was, like, always like, oh, damn, like, this could have ended up real bad. And so, like, part of it's like, dude, am I really going to, like, go to college, struggle my ass all the way through it, have my dad struggle all the way through it, for me to go take, like, a $45,000 a year job in New York just to be lit? Like, does that make the best sense? Especially, like, thinking about, like, sorry, kids, don't go to college fund, but here's my picture with me and J. Cole. It was kind of crazy. I was backstage. It was wild. Sorry, you got to pay for college. You know, so it's like, it's a weird relationship of, like, yeah, I could probably go out and grind and get back to financially where I want to be. And then part of it's like, I don't know, I kind of like this because now I don't got to chase the bag. Like, if I find someone who I'm passionate about, like Malik, or passionate about, like, some of these other artists that I find who I want to holistically push, I can just do that and not worry about it.
I don't even mean on a bag tip, though. It's like, well, so what I'm kind of gathering is that, like, through having a really good sense on Boston, helping lift Boston up, that for you is gratifying.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
gratifying, and it comes back around, you know. People like Zeke, you know, who signed Malik are still singing my praises and will make plays for me if I have to make plays or whatever.
Well, you're going to make big plays, bro. I already know it. I can already tell where it's headed.
And then just like the blogging thing, like people care. People care that I care, you know, which is cool.
When it's genuine.
Yeah, like people. Like the world, the music industry world is very, very small. Everyone knows everyone.
Boston music's the smallest.
Think of national. The person you know at Interscope will probably know the person at Warner Music, or will probably know the person at Def Jam who knows the person at STEM.
And then the person at STEM knows the person at Elevator, and then they know you, and then you know everyone in Boston.
Exactly. So when I go out to like New York and I'm meeting like this person off Twitter for the first time, I'm like, oh yeah, and I think I got this guy, Danny, around the corner. Like, oh yeah, Danny, we had lunch with him yesterday.
That's my dog.
Exactly. Let me go introduce you, and then you shake the next hand, and then you got a little network in New York that you didn't know about.
Fire.
But yeah, I don't know. The recognition comes and people are appreciative of it, which is always cool. And then I'm able to help out some really talented artists that I like, which is also really cool, and help them out.
How can you capitalize on there's just one thing I want to talk to you about. Mind you, I don't try to get up here and slander anybody. Like, sometimes I let my mouth run too much. But how can the Boston Calling Fest start incorporating more local artists?
Well, Boston Calling is difficult because it's owned by a bigger company than just someone from Boston putting it on.
Is it Crashline?
I think it is Crashline, which I think also does like Bonnaroo and Governor's Ball. It's a bigger company.
I've tried to show up their office twice now. Oh, you don't know. I'm actually nuts, bro.
But like they do put on Boston artists. It's not all the Boston artists in the world because, you know, everyone has to eat. And I mean, if you look at these, and this is sort of like put my music industry tinfoil hat on, like there's these large booking corporations. It's the reason why Khalid is headlining every festival, but also the reason why everyone else on Khalid's booking agent, which I think is Cara Lewis, also has a bill.
Well, I think one thing people don't understand, what I've gotten a sense of is, yo, you might not like it, but it's the system we live in. Your music has to produce money. That's just the
that's
name
just,
of the game, man.
That is just the name of the game. Like, no one cares about 10,000 streams.
It's fucked. It's the truth, though.
Like, I do. I like 10,000 streams, but like on a festival level, like you're trying to command a stage of 800 people or whatever. If you haven't done the local scene the right way, done a little baby tour the right way, like shown that you are a performing artist, it's gonna be very difficult to get those looks.
A lot of politicking, man, in music. Have you any questions?
And multiple known songs. You can't just go up there and sing
You can't have one song.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Old Town Road, like you'll probably get a stage off that. But like at the end of the day, like yes, like there's I think the festivals would, from where we're at now, I think the festival is like the last thing you should care about. That happens way down the line after you've already signed a booking agent and everything. And
I'm just speaking on behalf of the general Twitter republic when there was this massive eruption.
well, the general Twitter republic don't really
It's a
know.
dark place, man.
They don't really know. Like
Yeah.
it's there's a lot of stuff that goes on that I'm not even aware of, but I'm aware that something's going on that I'm not aware of. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
I
like
feel
you can't just be like, what about my boy? It's like, well, that's not the way
You don't
it
have
works.
access to all the information.
No, none of us do. None of us do, unless you're in those offices. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on like behind everything that we would never really see. But there's still like 5 Boston artists on there this year. They're not the Boston artists that you want to see.
Well, that a certain crowd wants to see. Yes, Kev.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Welcome to the GDP classroom.
I know you gotta leave soon, but I have one question. Like, what's your opinion on, like, as a writer, you see an artist that drops a ton of mixtapes, you know, has a foundation,
Yeah.
as opposed to, like, you know, an artist that just came to you with one song, but it might be popping a little bit, or like one tape, it might be popping a little bit. Who do you have more confidence or leaning towards?
Got you.
Let me just
Yeah.
to the mic. Kev saying, Greg, a.k.a. Greg is on fire. Do you look for foundation in an artist?
Like discography.
Yeah, like a discography or a foundation of like long-term maturation, as opposed to someone who's just popping for the now.
For like the first time. Or
Did I
whatever,
did I translate that right?
Yeah, someone with a heavy discography versus someone whose music is good, but they don't have the, you know, not as reliable because, you know, you can't even see a large body of work.
Got you.
Yeah, that was a great question. No
That is,
bullshit.
that is a really good question, and it brings up like a really larger point. Would you rather have Russell Westbrook on your team or C.J. McCollum?
Probably CJ to win a championship.
Who would you rather have?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I'll say Westbrook.
Would you rather win the chip though? You feel me?
A chip, probably CJ McCollum.
I'd rather people who hit shots.
Yeah.
You know, if you got 50 songs on your SoundCloud and 4 of them are cool, it's like, well, shit, I could have just done with a 4-song EP and been straight. You know, now you're 100% from the field. But I think I'll find.
That one just caught my brain. That makes sense.
I don't look at either, to be honest. I look at it from a pure song by song. There's artists I find the first song I'm like, yep, this kid's got something. There's something intangible. It is like pulling up like as a scout to like this AAU tournament. Like these kids, like especially for me, like most of these people I'm putting on the playlist or whatever it might be, like are just now getting their feet wet or just now getting their first album under the way. And it's just like there are a lot of intangibles, but in a general sense, I think from like a larger perspective situation, I think the discography is good, but the discography has to be good. So I think look at someone like P.I.S.T.O.L.A. I think P.I.S.T.O.L.A. is a perfect example. Like back in the day, like he had like 8 mixtapes, you know, and like there is these fun ass songs like Fiji and no, what was the other one before that? I think it was called Dasani, and there's some really good songs on those tapes. But I personally wasn't looking through every single tape waiting to, you know. So there is a balancing act. I think at the end of the day, you always have to recognize that you want to put like your best foot forward, and it's okay to remove songs, or it's okay to delete podcasts, or it's okay to delete photos. Like
To be honest, I'll never delete a video.
No, podcasts are different because it's like more of an archive. But like,
well, you have to go look at me and YouTube in 2015. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've always been totally like, no, we have to document the way I've been coming up.
I just have to think about it as if someone's introducing themselves, or if you're introducing yourself to them for the first time ever, what do you want that output to be? If you think all 4 albums are like solid, like by all means, and totally, yeah, for sure. But there's a lot of value in also just giving them your best. Like for instance, I had a song that I helped premiere over at a different blog. This kid's first debut single, right? The first like real song ever. Granted, his SoundCloud had a couple demos that he then pulled down, but
Who was this?
Kyle Lux.
Word, okay.
Fire, so good.
Yeah, Bernard Jabs was great too.
Yeah, Bernard is cool, but like Kyle Lux worked for 2 years without releasing music to get to that first single, so it's kind of a give and take. Depends on how you want to sort of be.
I think also kind of what I'm gathering is there's no real formula.
There is no real formula. There really isn't, because...
But there are some definites, like make sure your music's hitting, make sure you're a good dude, make sure your smile's clean.
Yeah.
Make sure your lineup's fresh.
Yeah.
Is that in there?
Kinda.
How's mine?
Yours is solid.
I'm tucking back a little bit. I told you we got the Irish curse, bro.
You're faded up. Yeah, I need to get my stuff taken care of.
But that's the signature Greg look, bro.
Yeah, the swoopy hair.
Did any of your relatives have red hair?
No.
None?
My sister kind of did, but not really. It's I don't know. But like you have to make sure the music's good, the brand makes sense, and the brand is some combination of your personality versus your output. So if you have to provide some sort of value for people to want to join in on what you're talking about. If you're really, really personable or really, really vulnerable in your music, someone like Connus, like anyone can insert themselves into that music and go, cool, I feel like I know you more now. Or you put words in my mouth that I couldn't make up, but you did because you're the musician, like a Frank Ocean type vibe. Or you have someone like Latrell who's like speaking specifically, especially with TrackPhone, like to things that he's going through, whether it's gentrification, and then same with like the Politician song, I think it's called OK. Like there's a sense of sort of community revolves around like that. Like, okay, if I'm part of this, like I get this. This makes sense to me.
Also, why I fuck with Latrell is like, yo, talk about long-term maturation, bro.
Yeah,
like talk about just like dogging it. And look,
if you want to answer your question, talk to Latrell. Latrell will take like 3 years on an album, and then he might still put it on hold. And
he's 29, and he's like slowly growing. Yes, bro. Yeah, this dude's back at the door. I mean, I'm not even gonna cut this from the interview. It's just getting ridiculous. Can you grab it for him? Thank you. It's like every time, dude.
You gotta leave that door open or something, or is there a doorknob on it? Oh, it's a
code.
passcode.
Right. Welcome to Phoenix Down Recording again. Well, not welcome, Greg. Welcome, but internet. We are in Phoenix Down Recording. It is probably one of the most discussed studios in Boston.
I would say, yeah.
Okay, cool. Glad I got your validation, because sometimes I'm up here talking about stuff I don't even know.
No, this Phoenix Down has definitely made itself known for sure.
Okay, so you're going to have to skedaddle soon. So, listen.
I gotta run.
Any parting words? I wish we could run it longer, bro. This was like one of my favorites for sure. You provided a lot of hashtag.
What?
You provided a lot of hashtag.
Did I?
Value.
Oh, okay. I was like, yo, where's this going? This is a long pause. Am I supposed to fill this in? Parting words. Jeez.
Well, first off, give me your plug, where to find you.
Oh, yeah. You can find me at Twitter. Greg is on fire. I talk a lot of shit there. Instagram, I don't post anything there. I have a newsletter where I talk about music.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I should have brought that up.
No, it's new. It's fine. I have a newsletter. It's where I kind of talk music more long form, show you some music that you might want to check out, show you some articles that may be important, whether it's about music business or just kind of movements or just kind of the topics of the day type situation. You can find that at tinyletter.com/GregIsOnFire. My SoundCloud is Greg is on fire. Just Twitter, really. Everything goes through.
Don't give that email out. They'll start getting scared.
I think it's in the bio. It is in the bio.
Oh, you should have said that.
It's in the bio. Send me music. No, it's for real. Send me music, and I'll tell you what I feel about it. Just don't get hurt, because I'm not. Yeah,
you're at the point now where you can't even play it political.
I'm not the music czar. Like, I'm not like the trial and executioner where like, you suck. Like, never make a music. I'm just like, I don't know if I like this or not.
Yes, you know what I'm gonna start doing? Everyone who sends me music, I'm gonna say send it to Greg.
Just auto forward.
I've been doing that to other podcasts too. Well, yeah, you gotta look up this podcast. They're doing a lot for your niche.
Then as far as parting words of wisdom,
Can I give you my words first?
Yeah.
I think that you're gonna do some crazy shit, man. I hope we can work together sometime, because I think you're a fucking really smart dude.
Man, I just think too much. I'm a prisoner of my own thoughts and success potentially, but we'll see how that ends up.
I take back what I said. That was the scariest thing I heard all day, bro.
No, but Look up those charts I posted on Instagram or on Twitter.
Those were amazing.
You know, like
I looked at the same shit.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay, this is exactly how I feel. But yeah, parting words of wisdom. If you're a musician, make sure your music is good. Vet it through other people. The feedback loop is the most important loop that you can find. Have people that you trust. Send them music early. Send them music not official. Send them demos. Send them everything. Ask for their opinion. Ask for their feedback. What you do with that feedback is up to you, but at least get more conversations into your room before your room is empty.
Fire.
Yeah.
Greg is on fire.
You know, you have to have that feedback loop in any sort of creative output, whether it's design, whether it's art. You have to have people kind of guiding you from a third person perspective. That's why you watch game tape, you know?
That's why you watch Game of Thrones tomorrow.
That's why I watch Game of Thrones tomorrow.
I was like, fuck, I could really pull like a Ryan Seacrest here, and I'm like, yo, what are Game of Thrones predictions?
Oh, I got one. So, Daenerys does not want to give up the throne, so she tries to get Jon killed in the battle. However, Sansa sees that and kills Daenerys.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Lord Varys is taking the whole thing.
No
shot.
I'm Team Sansa, for real.
Bro,
For
what?
real. Yeah, bro, don't question me. Don't question me. Yo, she's been through a lot. She's seen a lot.
Greg, you were on fire before you said that.
Bro,
Sansa.
she's badass. She's badass right now.
She's beautiful.
She's beautiful.
That's like what?
She is beautiful.
Your wife.
She's not gonna watch this. It's straight.
Okay, word.
Nah, I think Sansa's got something to her, for real. For real.
She's developed a keen
like
intuition.
Yeah. Which is yeah.
You know what I'll do? I'll text you after tomorrow. Give me like 5 characters you know are gonna get killed.
Tormund, Brienne, Arya.
Like Arya Stark?
Yeah.
No.
She's out. She's out. She's big time out. She's big time out.
Fuck.
Jamie's gonna die, but Jamie's gonna kill the Night King at the same time. So that's like his whole character arc is solidified.
He's not gonna die. Then I'm talking about next episode.
He's gonna die. So, okay. So Tormund, Brienne. Who's the
I hope to God it's someone that no one was expecting. I hope they pull back that old Game of Thrones plot twist.
Yeah.
The old Red Wedding plot twist.
Axe somebody completely. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, give me 5, because then I'm gonna quote you and I'll text you.
Brienne is gonna die. Tormund is gonna die. Who's the dude with the red beard who wants to bang Brienne?
Who's like, I
yeah,
suck the milk from
yeah,
giant.
he's gonna die. Who's homeboy who buffed out Arya?
Gendry.
He's gonna die.
He's got claim to the throne.
And Theon's gonna die.
I'm a little nervous Tyrion's gonna die.
That could be very serious.
A little nervous about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how we start and end the episode. Hi, my name, and this is my golden hour. Directly after No Break. Hi, my name, and that was my golden hour. You got it?
Gotcha.
And I'm just gonna preface it real quick. Yo, again, come through with some value. #business, #value for everyone over here tuning in, because Greg dropped a lot of gems on how to accurately market yourself as an artist, especially in Boston, and that's very possible for everyone in Boston to make some waves for yourself. Go.
So do you want me to do it as Greg Gaffney or Greg is on fire?
That was supposed to be like the epic lead up. You're supposed
Shit.
to be good at whatever you want. I'm going to call it Greg Gaffney's episode.
Okay.
Why do you think I should call it Greg is on fire?
No. I didn't know how you wanted to approach it.
How do you want it?
Greg Gaffney's fine.
Okay, cool.
Hi, Greg. Oh, jeez. No, I can't say hi to myself.
Hi, it's Greg Gaffney. Or hi, I'm Greg Gaffney.
Hi, it's Greg Gaffney, and this is my golden hour. And then was my golden hour.
And this is Gag Order Radio.
Chill.
And then hi, I'm Greg Gaffney. That was my golden hour.
Hi, I'm Greg Gaffney. That was my golden hour.
That was perfect, man. Thank you.
Cool.
Kev, can you just hit the camera so I can hit this?